Before you snap any single piece off that sprue, watch this first. In this video, I'm building the captain with Relic Shield from the 11th Edition Armageddon box, and every technique I use on this one model carries over to every other model on the box. Get this right and the rest of the build is easy, so let's go. Welcome back to Avner Hobbies. This is the 11th Edition Armageddon series, where we're going to build and paint both armies in the box. Last episode we unboxed everything. If you missed that video, the link is in the description below. Today is episode 2 and we're going to be building the captain with Relic Shield, the hero model in the Space Marine side of this box set. This is the most detailed model of the Space Marine half, so if you can build him confidently, every other model in the box is easier. The same techniques, the same philosophies, they carry right across all the Intercessors and other characters in the box. So let's jump in. Let's talk tools. Here's what I'm using for the build, and honestly, for pretty much every build I do. First, clippers. These are non-negotiable. A decent pair of flush cut clippers gets a parts off the sprue cleanly without stressing the plastic. If you're using the wrong clippers, you're already fighting the model. Next, a hobby knife. I use this to clean mold lines, trimming off small bits of plastic and general tidy up work. The back edge of the blade, the non-sharp spine, is actually brilliant for scraping off mold lines, without the risk of cutting into it too deep. I reach for that more often than the actual blade, most of the time. Then files and sanding sticks. After the knife work, these are how I smooth everything off before gluing. A flat file for flat surfaces, a round needle for those recesses. Now for the glues. I use 2 bottles. This is important. This is Tamiya thin plastic cement. This is my primary glue for this build. Thin cement works by actually melting the surfaces of the plastic. The 2 pieces fuse together rather than stick. The bond is incredibly strong. The brush applicator gives you a good control. Apply it to the joints and hold for a few seconds and you're done. The second bottle is sprue glue. This is something I make myself. It just happens to be another bottle of plastic cement, the same Tamiya one, with a few bits of sprue dropped in. The solvent melts the plastic over time and turns the whole thing into a thick glue. Think of it as plastic putty. I use this for gap filling. Any parts that don't sit perfectly flush, it fills the gap, dries hard, and then you can sand it back. Simple and effective. The last 2 things are magnets and super glue, but those are for basing. The bases are getting their own full video. I'm making custom base paste from tile grout, PVA, sand, water, and cork. All from scratch. That episode is coming soon. For now, we're focusing on the build. Before you cut anything, study the sprue. The captain's parts are all labeled in the instructions and are numbered on the sprue itself. Take 30 seconds to find the parts and know where they are before clipping them out. This one habit alone saves you from cutting the wrong part or losing small pieces, or even snapping something off that's in a bad angle. Know the sprue before you touch it. When you clip twice. First cut leaves a small nub of sprue still attached to the part. The second cut removes the nub cleanly. If you try and cut right at the part on the first clip, you'll risk pulling or stressing the plastic and leaving white stress marks. 2 cuts every time. Once the part is off, you'll have to now remove the mold lines. They are thin seams or lines left over from the molding process. On the model like the captain, there are a few obvious ones across the arms and the torso. I'm going to be using the back of my hobby knife. That's the spine edge. Just drag it along the line with light pressure. Let the blade do the work. You're not cutting, you're just scraping. Then a light pass with the sanding stick to smooth it off. Here's a tip that made a real difference to my builds. Most Games Workshop parts have a locating peg. Little cylinder pins that push into corresponding holes on the other's part. They're designed to position the part correctly, but sometimes the peg bottoms out at the hole and the surfaces don't actually fit flush. You'll get a small gap around the join line, and the part never sits quite right. The simple fix to this is trim a small amount of the tip of the peg with your hobby knife or clippers. Not all of it, just a few millimeters or so, especially on an angle. Once you do that, the surfaces will come together fully and the peg will still do its job by keeping everything aligned. Test fit first. Check the joints, then glue. I want to say something quickly about how I approach building models. I'm not trying to be perfect, I'm trying to be thorough. There is a difference. Perfect means getting paralyzed over every tiny gap nobody will ever see at arm's length on a gaming table. Thorough means I've done every step properly. I've checked my work and I've fixed actually what needs fixing. That's the standard I hold myself to, and it is the standard I'd encourage for anyone else watching this. Every technique in this video, from peg trimming, the dry fitting, the two-cut clipping, these aren't advanced skills. They're just habits. Build on them now, on this captain, and by the time you're done with the rest of the box, they will become automatic to you. And this is the captain with Relic Shield. Built, cleaned, and ready for primer. The same process you just watched applies to every model in the Armageddon box. Clip clean, remove the mold lines, trim the pegs where needed, dry fit, glue, check for gaps, fill if needed, and that's the whole workflow. If this helped you, hit the like button. It generally makes a difference for the channel, and it helps Avanor Hobbies reach more people in the hobby community. Subscribe if you haven't already. New episodes will be dropping soon. You don't want to miss what's coming. In my next video, I'll be building the Orc War Boss and the rest of the orcs in the set. I'm Avanor from Avanor Hobbies, and I will see you all in the next video.